And next show we'll have
days. There was only 2 days left when I got there.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I came back to the kibbutz, you know, to do what I was supposed to do, to pick up cotton. And then I came back to France.
So since then you photographed 20 some odd wars, 22 wars or so?
About, yeah.
Vietnam, Cambodia, what other ones have you?
Afghanistan, Iran Revolution, Nicaragua, Salvador, Mozambique, Angola.
Okay. And just recently you were in Panama for the American invasion there.
Just Cause.
Just Cause, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's the name of the operation. What was the situation there? I understand your wife went along also.
My wife went along. She's a camera operator. She works for the French TV, and she was kidnapped at the hotel at 1 in the morning, and they released her after 6 hours. I was running around the city at that time because I thought of, felt something was going to happen. So I was in the streets about 11 o'clock at night when the attack happened. It was like midnight or 1 o'clock, I don't remember.
So most of the assignments that you get, you're working for Sigma, which is a magazine picture agency, is that how
Sigma is a photo news agency,
okay.
And it has a TV department too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and usually they send us, or we say we're going to go somewhere, and then they find assignments for us on the way. Like Newsweek picked me up for Panama.
Okay, so you
and
were there
asked me to be on assignment for them.
Right.
And so I was working for Newsweek on the United States, but of course for all the other newspapers around the world.
Right. And then what happened?
Well, I was just, I did my job during the night, and the next day I got robbed from my cameras, by the Dignity Battalion. But I had a few cameras left in the hotel. I grabbed them. Then I worked normally, like, shooting whatever was happening. And then
you were staying at the Marriott at the time? That's
well, I had a room at the Marriott.
Okay.
But I wasn't staying there anymore because they were taking people out of the Marriott at gunpoint all the time.
Right.
So everybody was saying, what is the Americans doing? Are they going to secure the hotel or not? And they did secure the hotel on the 20th during the night, 11 o'clock at night. But I wasn't there. I was at Reuter's office with my wife and a few other photographers. We were hiding there. The next morning, I got up and went to make a tour around town, and I heard the Americans had secured the hotel, so I went back to the hotel with a few journalists to get to our rooms and have a breakfast and check out, our things. They refused us the entry. And we tried to argue with them, saying that they were there to protect the people from the hotel, the guests, and we were guests. But they put us in the streets, and they couldn't do anything. They had no orders for us. So we went in front of the hotel in the street, so I take pictures of the soldiers, had a few chats with them. Then a convoy came, an American convoy. It was the convoy coming to the hotel to pick up the guests. The first tank stopped in front of me, and I talked to the convoy guy, the tank, and he said that he was going to the hotel. I took a few pictures of him, portraits of him. Then he asked me to move out of the way because he was going to go ahead and go to the hotel. And then somebody shot from the hotel on the tank. Everybody was caught by surprise, so we all sort of turned around. And the convoy reacted by shooting back at the hotel. So Americans started shooting at Americans. We were right in the middle.
So this was like 8 o'clock in the morning, so it's like
Something
broad daylight. And
oh, yeah.
so the gunfire opened up and...
I don't know who started it,
right.
But it came from the hotel, and I suppose that the Americans had secured the hotel properly. They were there since like 12 hours already. So, and we got caught in the middle. The Spanish photographer got killed. The British guy from Reuters got a bullet in the leg, and I got it in the stomach.
So you were pretty much laying there...
I stayed on the street for about 3 hours.
And then finally a medic came along?
A medic came after 2 hours, an American soldier. He was a brave man. He crossed the street with his aid, his protection, just for me, to see how I was, and then he sort of, stuffed my wound, but he couldn't do anything else about it.
Right.
But he stayed with me for an hour and a half, There was sporadic shooting then. We did probably snipers then who, when they heard that there was confusion, they probably got closer and started shooting at everybody.
So this isn't the first time you've been shot before also, right?
It's the first time I'm shot by friendly fire.
By friendly fire, yeah. Now, while you were laying there, what was going through your mind of, Yeah, you mentioned also that you had written on your
Well, I
hands
started
and
getting
face your
cold.
blood type and everything.
I started getting cold, and I knew damn well it was hot outside, so
Right.
I knew I was losing too much blood.
Right.
So I didn't know how long I could stay conscious, and that, you know, one of the main things was going to be to get me some blood.
Mm-hmm.
So I just grabbed my marker and put my blood type on my forehead and arms.
Right.
And when that American soldier came, he was, you know, I asked him for a painkiller because it's pretty painful.
Sure.
A bullet in the stomach hurts a lot.
And it went out your back also.
Went out here, yeah. Came out the back, made a hole about like this
geez.
big on the exit. And he said, no, what's keeping you alive is the pain. Take the pain. You know, he was right, but I hated him for that.
Right,
you know,
right.
Because
So even now you're going through therapy and recuperation from it?
yeah, it still hurts.
Yeah.
I still can't eat everything I want. So.
Right. Now you brought along with you today a videotape showing a little bit of what you do. Now, some people, you know, would find this maybe difficult to understand, but you know, you talk about it so matter-of-factly as a job that you pretty much do, and in the case of Panama, it's what would you say, a part of the job? Huh?
Yeah, I'm a photographer. You know, I don't really like the word war photographer. I'm a photographer in a situation of war. I mean, you're a photographer for the Miami Herald.
Right.
When you're doing a riot, you're not a riot photographer. You're a photographer covering a riot. Oops.
Okay, we're going to see a little clip here. And this is where now?
This is in, well, it's in Lebanon. It's Tripoli. When the Syrians attacked Tripoli, tried to get the Palestinians out of the city. That's my taxi driver.
Okay, now the taxi driver, to get a taxi driver to take you into the city of...
$500 for 15 minutes by car. Well, he's risking his life. You have to understand him.
Now, the people living in the city, though, it's life as usual. Huh?
Well, not where the fighting is. They're sort of hiding, but as soon as the shooting stops, they pop out. The difficult part is there. It's when your taxi driver decides to stop. He doesn't want to go further. He wants to live to spend his $500.
Right.
You have to walk from this point to the front line, and you don't, you know, this is no man's land. That's the problem, is to get from this point to the guys who are fighting. Once you're with the guys who are fighting, like now, that's okay, because they know who you are. You know, you have a few cigarettes with them, and then it's okay. Well, you can get hit by the enemy, but you can't get hit by both sides like when you're going there.
So, as a representative of the news media, you can go in on either side of the situation.
Well, you can try to go in.
Right. But you prefer to approach going into a situation like this without, like, official sanction. I know in America...
well, there's nothing official in Lebanon, you know.
Right.
See, the
So
sniper
exactly
tried to get me
safe.
there.
Right.
What? See, these guys are okay as long as you're not bothering them. You have to sort of fit in. That's why I work alone. After a while, they forget you. You know. And, if you're a group, then you're a group of foreigners, and they're going to be tight, and they're not going to show you everything. If you're
So now you've caught a ride with them, and you're going to go up to the...
This guy had some sandwiches to give to the guys in the front line, so I just hopped in. I asked him if I could. He said, if you want. And then he, after giving the sandwiches, he came back. He doesn't come back empty. He came back with a body. He comes in with food and comes out with bodies. That was his job.
So these are the photographs now that...
Yeah, this photo that was taken of the Syrian soldier wounded in the back, and a Syrian tank moving up to the front line. So I was trying to follow him, but it's not very easy.
So then, while all this is happening, I mean, the city's pretty much devastated with fire.
Yeah, there's a lot of shooting going on. A lot of 120 and 106 recordless rifles like this one. Fighting, you know, house to house. But it makes a lot of good pictures, and the people understand better what's happening there, you know. Because, I mean, if you say it's fighting in Tripoli, who's going to understand without some videotapes or photos if you don't show
Now,
it?
most of these photographs would find it to, say, American news magazines.
Oh, yeah. The Stigma, you know, sells to like 47 countries.
Okay. Now, in Europe, is there a lot more attention paid to display of photographs of...
We have more newspapers, I mean magazines like Life. We have like 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I think the Americans are very curious about what's happening as well.
Do you feel like, I know with a couple of situations recently, Grenada and in Panama also, you went in pretty much before anything was really happening, before the invasion actually started.
In Panama?
And,
Yeah.
right, and that's pretty much your case. You're working alone.
Yes.
Getting into the place.
It's not very good to be an official photographer. Like, if the guys who were with the American Army in Panama didn't get to see much because they were stuck at the base, and for security reasons, well, that's what they told them.
Right.
They couldn't get out of the base until everything was cleaned up. I'm sure they were concerned about the security, but they were concerned as well about what kind of photos they were going to take. There was casualties on both sides. I didn't see any pictures of dead soldiers, American soldiers.
It seems like America is getting a pretty sanitized version of what's going on.
On Panama and Grenada, yes. I don't know, Since Vietnam, it seems that in Vietnam you could do what you want. They were great. I think they got, a little bit...
Is it the sensitivity? Because it seems like photographs in Vietnam all of a sudden changed world opinion about that situation. And
well, it helped. It helped to, to make people realize what was going on.
Right. And now you're pretty much...
So now the American Army is being careful with the press, and they're choosing them very carefully, and they're sort of, keeping them in a tight group, not showing everything. So that's why we work the way we work. We sort of work on our own without asking.
So there's no one, other than saying you're from the press or something like that, there's no one who's going to help you unless you pretty much make friends with...
It's with the individual, with this basic soldier who's my friend.
Right.
He's like me, he's expendable. He's in the middle of the battle. The only difference is I choose to be there, he doesn't. But many times I had soldiers say, hey, come with us, and then the officers say, hey, no photography. But most of the time they're happy to have a photographer with them. Why not,
Is it a sense of them wanting it to be documented, or is it just...
Yeah, they just they feel less alone, and they have a few talks. Their mother's going to see them in Newsweek,
Right.
Or their girlfriend.
Did you ever feel like your photographs would change the course of history, or
no?
Why go out and risk your life to do?
I'm not going out and risking my life. I'm doing what I want. The fact that I risk my life has nothing to do with it. It's just part of the thing. It's not I love photography. I love traveling. I love adventure. But it's dangerous is beyond the point. That's a personal problem. You can deal with it or you can't. It's not really important.
When you look at film of yourself in these situations, and you live in a real nice house, you've got a nice family, a couple of kids, a dog.
That's recent.
Recently. Is it two separate worlds here that we're talking about? From the war, do you have like a separation in your mind to know when?
I suppose so.
From one world to the other? Do you ever get to a point where you worry about that line not being defined enough?
No. I don't get worried easily.
Right. I guess not.
No, it's just different. I feel different, and I'm different.
Are you mentally on autopilot when you're going through these situations, or is this?
What do you mean?
It seems very difficult to me to look at, you're going through this intense fighting and situation. You're there, because you want to be there. It's not like you were drafted or sent there.
No.
What keeps you going back?
Well, I mean, there's interesting pictures to take, and you live a fast life. I mean, it's interesting life, and so you're driven by, photography, by adventure, by all kinds of things. You can't make money doing that job. That's for sure.
Right.
So basically, it's adventure. You're very free. You can do what you want. You're risking your life, and that's part of the fun, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And you brought some photographs also from different situations. We've got some slides to show, I think, of starting wars.
That's a Christian tank in Beirut.
And there seems to be some real ironies in your photography too, of these people living amongst. It seems like a fairly regular lifestyle encompassed in war.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's not much irony in this one.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty sad.
This is El Salvador?
No, this is Nicaragua during the revolution.
Okay.
In 78 or 79, I can't remember. This is Iran-Iraq artillery fire. And that's in Lebanon. It's a Christian priest.
Okay, there's an interesting story here that you would...
Yeah, he suddenly, on the other side of that hill, there's his village who's just been taken by the Muslims. And when he saw his church go in flames, he pushed the soldier away from the machine gun and got pissed. And after, he talked to me and he said, look, I'm sorry, but I made a mistake. The devil hit me, and I did something I should have done.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you're a professional. I know you didn't miss that. What are we going to do about it? And I can't have this picture in the newspapers. I said, well, I mean, I took what happened. And then he said, well, our Archbishop is going to see the Pope next week and ask him for help for the Christians. What's going to happen if this picture is in the newspapers? What's about, you know, the Pope shows him that picture of the priest. And plus that, since the beginning, the Muslims are taking the villages. They're respecting the priests. They don't kill them. If they see that picture, what do you think is going to happen? So I called Sigma. I said, you can use every picture of the priest, you know, he's with the soldiers, with the tanks, with the wounded.
Blessing the tank at the beginning.
Don't use the guy shooting.
Right.
And they said, you're crazy. This is a great picture. I said, yeah, but I mean, the consequences are going to be so high. You know.
So was that a decision of a code of ethics that you...
Yeah, I mean, this guy didn't represent anything else but himself.
Mm-hmm.
So it was no big deal about censorship. I wasn't, you know, hiding something that was happening in Lebanon. This was just one individual that got really pissed.
Right.
And it would be so bad, the result would be so tremendous. Probably people would get killed if I would show this picture.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now this is back...
This is in Vietnam. It's on an aircraft carrier.
Right.
That's Palestinians waiting for the Israeli tanks to move up. That's, you know, the hostage situation in Beirut when they blew up that plane from TWA.
Okay. So you're pretty much jetted in around the world. Do you know where a hotspot is going to be developing, or do you get assignments to go to these places? Or
I try to know. You know. Sometimes newspapers call me, sometimes I call the newspapers, sometimes Sigma calls me. Many times some soldiers will call me. Like, so I know them, you know.
Panama, you just were...
Well, Panama, it was pretty obvious. I mean, an American soldier got killed. You know, it was provocation. How much more could the Americans take, you know, without doing anything? So it was pretty obvious it was, you know, you had to go there and wait.
Okay, and this photograph
is... This is center of Beirut. There's a lot of Lebanon here. This is Beirut. This is Christians shooting back at the Muslims.
Okay, what is he holding there? That's
he has an RPG. He just fired an RPG, the guy in the back, and it's just still smoking.
Wow.
This is the Iranians. After the revolution, they were obliged to put that on, but you can see the way she's looking at the photographer. She's probably has a blue jean under her. This is Palestinians just blew up 2 Merkava Israeli tanks in southern Beirut, and they're moving up to the next tank, or you know, shooting at the next tank. And then a few moments later, the Israeli paratroopers reacted and charged us. We had to run away with one of the Palestinian wounded. Most of the guys who were around me got shot and died. That's when I got my camera hit, you know, while I was running away.
And that's the camera you brought with you today here? Huh?
I had that camera on my side, and it was blown off of me.
So this pretty much saved your life, really, huh?
Well, not really, because I had it on the side, and the bullet came in here.
Oh, okay.
There.
Right.
No, it just, I had it here on the side, you know, and so it just blew the camera off of me.
Wow. Huh. Okay, we have a couple more slides, too, I think, of...
Well, this is the American soldier that told me to go get out of the hotel when I asked to get in.
Ah, okay.
If he hadn't done that, the Spanish guy would be alive, I wouldn't have a bullet in the stomach, and the British guy wouldn't have, because we all asked him to get in the hotel where there was 100 guests inside.
Mm-hmm.
And we showed him our keys, and we said we were guests. He refused. He said, get on the other side of the street. And then that's when the convoy came in and shot at us.
Okay. Now there's nothing. You're in a war situation. If an accident happens, there's no compensation or a way for you to.
Newsweek and Sigma are going to help me,
Right.
because they're
The
good
Americans
friends.
actually sent you a bill for.
The American Army, a military hospital sent a bill to Newsweek, yeah.
And there was no apology or
Not yet.
explanation or anything of the.
This is a cat trying to save his life in the middle of combat in Beirut.
Mm-hmm.
He made it.
This is like the recoil from the tank that's causing all the smoke there?
That's right.
Okay.
He was probably sleeping on the side when the
Right.
tank shot. This is elections in Haiti. This poor guy thought, he was free to vote.
And those are the ballots there.
Well, he did vote. That's the last thing he did, poor guy. That's the same priest again.
Okay.
That's in Iraq.
Now this is,
Sorry, not in Iraq, in Pakistan. Yeah. It's Ashura, it's the religious, I don't know how you call it. It's
ceremony?
yeah.
Okay.
There's a tank who got hit in Beirut, and the guy's getting out of it, running away.
Wow, okay.
He made it like the cat.
Right. That's amazing. And you also have some still photographs, some prints you brought with you too,
Mhm.
covering everything from the Vietnam War on up to the present.
Mhm.
Let's take a look at the first one here. This is from Vietnam.
Yeah.
And this is a pretty much.
Well, this is a American GI telling me to move faster. We're going on a
Okay.
patrol,
Yeah.
This is a Irish guy, IRA, in the streets of Belfast.
So you're photographing wars and any violent situation.
Anywhere they send
Is
me.
that pretty much you're assigned to?
Well, not really, but they used to be going to those places,
Okay. And show the next one. Now you, this is a photograph by a friend of yours?
Yeah, this is Al Rokov, who was a photographer I met in Cambodia in '73, and we were going with the government troops attacking, the communists, the Red Khmer, when we got hit by mortar fire, and I was hit, and he took the picture of the explosion just when
Right.
I'm falling.
Wow. Okay, and this is you being.
Yeah, that's me on the ground
Aided.
there. I was hit again. Well, this is me being treated, yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's take a look at the rest of them here in
Okay.
a few minutes.
This is
Beirut again.
a Druze guy in the mountains of Lebanon waiting,
Mhm.
old man. This is Arafat's headquarters after the Israeli planes made a pass at it.
So you've really chronicled quite a bit of history here from.
This is the Portuguese soldiers in Mozambique, running away from mortar fire. Well, that's that same priest before he got mad, doing
okay.
his job.
Okay.
He's giving the benedictions to the tanks.
Okay. 3 minutes.
That's the priest before he got mad again.
Mm-hmm.
This is in Salvador last time during the offensive, about
Sure.
4 months ago. The civilians running away.
And the people, and in this case even animals, are
Well, yeah. The cat got away, but not the horses.
nobody's.
This is in Tripoli, Lebanon. Syrian army moving up to the front line.
Mm-hmm.
This is a general in Iran during the revolution, got caught by the crowd. They pulled him out of his car.
Wow. So he was killed in this incident?
Yeah, but slowly.
And that's him towards the top. of the
He's
picture there.
right there.
Wow.
Looks like he's drowning in the crowd.
And this is in the foreground. You've got Oliver Rebaud in the
Yeah,
photograph
this is
there, too.
Olivier Rebaud, who was
Another
killed in
photographer.
Salvador. He was a French photographer working for Newsweek.
Mm-hmm.
That's that general again.
Okay.
This guy actually is trying to protect him against the crowd,
Wow.
but he couldn't make it. This is Salvadoran paratrooper.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. Well,
You can go ahead and pick it up there. So there's some incredible ironies also in these war situations. You have a photograph here of someone dressing up for Santa Claus.
well, life goes on. This is Santa Claus in Beirut. They still have kids,
Sure.
So, but he has his gun because most of the people still live on the front line. Their apartments are still on the green line.
Right.
So he has his gun and dresses up so the kids, try and make life look normal. Sometimes, you have disgusting people in these wars and just, they don't respect anything, so...
Do you think people get desensitized to these images after a period of time? That
You mean the public?
Mm-hmm.
I hope not. This is Salvador
important.
during the burial of Romero.
Right, they opened up on a crowd of mourners there.
I had a concurrent there and a priest. He was trying to take a few pictures, but he seemed pretty much in shock, so
right.
he didn't take much pictures.
In El Salvador.
Yeah, Salvador, same thing. This is an Iranian soldier shooting at me.
At you. Huh?
Yeah, he killed the woman that was next to me.
Oh my God.
Missed me, but he doesn't like photos.
Right. In El Salvador again.
In Salvador, it's just a portrait.
Okay. And that's just recently.
Well, that was the massacre of the Jesuits in Salvador. Everybody heard about that.
Okay. Well, Patrick, thank you very much for being with us today. I think people have gotten a real impression of the intensity of situations that you cover, and we appreciate you doing that for us all. From Photo Essay, thank you very much for being with us. Next week we have